everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Blades of Avernum. Last episode we completed another scenario, express delivery I believe it was, and now we're moving on to another. And a bit talking of this one first, it's called Of Good and Evil and is listed as being by Alcatraz or something like that, but it also says ported by Bane Earno. Now, looking in the README and going over what I can figure out, this was a scenario that was actually in Blades of Exile. And the README, so this guy, Bane Earno, took the scenario from Blades of Exile and basically ported it over to Blades of Avernum so it was playable. He said that this scenario was actually part of a series, and that this Alcatraz guy was a very good scenario maker. Well respected or well revered or something like that. But this scenario is able to stand on its own, as opposed to the other ones. So, we're going to go into this one, knowing that there were other scenarios that were part of its series, but this can stand on its own in its own right. And it was originally made in Blades of Exile, and not Blades of Avernum. Whatever, you know what I said. And it says it's for levels 10 to 15, but the README said to go with level 15 if you're coming out of the high-level party maker. Level 10 is if you're made your way there naturally. Whatever. Anyway, let's get into this and see what happens. Of Good and Evil, a society at the crossroads. Of Good and Evil is a port of a Blades of Exile scenario by Ian Klinkhamer, circa 1999. The port was done by Bane Earno and was released in 2013. If you have any comments, questions, yada yada yada, Alcatraz would like to express his intense gratitude to Stephen Maisel, Peter Hawkinson, Serene, Andrew Barton, and Kate for their work in beta testing the Blades of Exile scenario. Bane Earno would like to thank Jarakeen, Ishad Na, and Galandon for their work on the Blades of Avernum scenario. Image courtesy of yada yada. 25 years ago, the Godan came and fell upon the peaceful civilizations in the Vale. Most were destroyed, entire races died out. Many said the Godan were the gods themselves, punishment for the decadence of the people. One of the last surviving societies, a human polis named Genmar, contacted an ancient, enigmatic, and isolationist race who lived north of the Vale, the Slithzerakai. If the Godan had come from the gods, the humans made a deal with the devil to survive. In exchange for their cooperation, the Sliths demanded a tribute of one of Genmar's citizens a year, for 50 years, for sacrifice to their dragon god. Faced with annihilation, Genmar chose to survive, and agreed to the demands of the Sliths. With the Sliths' entry into the war, the tide changed. The war with the Godan had lasted 25 years, but victory finally seems to be coming into grasp. The Godans' numbers have dwindled to near extinction. They are a race no one will be sorry to see die. Reconnaissance. After spending what seems like months of hiding in bushes, trees, behind rocks, and in swamps, you are finally back in friendly territory. You've been at war with the Godan since before you can recall, and for what seems like the first time, you actually allow yourself to feel hope. Rumors that the forces of the Godan were becoming depleted had floated around for years. You are happy to report that the rumors were quite substantial. After months of scouting, you were somewhat astonished to discover that the forces of the Godan were virtually wiped out. The war may finally be coming to an end. As with everything, however, there is a catch. What remaining forces the Godan possess seems to be gathering themselves. For what you cannot say, although a final last-ditch strike is not implausible. You're back in friendly territory, but your reconnaissance mission is not quite complete. Your findings still need to be conveyed and implemented. You'll need to return to Genmar to do that. Okay then. Well, we have things. We have a Sanctify Crystal. When did I get that? Yeah, looking at what I have here, that's all. Okay, not bad. Chapter 1, Indebted by Fate. Oh, jeez. This thing has chapters? How long is this scenario? Well, let's move on and see what we can do here. Ooh, we get horses, do we? I hope we do. Oh, speak there in a bit. Rare goods, not sold anywhere else. The only trader in the small fort sizes up his latest customers. He looks fairly pleased to be able to finally be able to do some business. Roland, my good fellows, how can I help you? What do you do out here? I run this trading outpost here. Not as many customers as I might like, but I've got a virtual monopoly. What does the trading outpost offer? I provide a variety of services to the road-weary traveler. I act as a reseller, so you can sell spare items you've acquired to me. I sell adventuring supplies, which there's no shortage of or demand for. I can even identify most things. I've been around so long. Don't forget to ask me about my specials. Oh yeah, and I have some horses I can sell you. Can we trade? Ooh, we can buy some magic lockpicks. Sure, buy a few. Not bad. Medicine? Cures poison and disease. Okay. Identify items, we don't need that. What are your specials? Why, my specials include varieties of powder. Wouldn't you like to see? Sure. Dust of shadows and cleansing powder. What do you do out here? I'm interested in the horses. Ah, yes, my horses are the fastest in the land. I'm willing to part with them for only 700 gold. Do we have a deal? Yep. Horses are just in the pen. Enjoy. Horses, yay! We see them so rarely. This soldier doesn't look particularly interested in talking to you. Maybe he doesn't think too highly of reconnaissance specialists. I'm just a soldier. What is your job? Soldier things, like guarding this fort. He almost laughs as he says fort. This hardly looks like a fort. Before the war, this place was heavily fortified. Then it got destroyed. When we finally retook this area a year or so ago, we couldn't afford to rebuild it to what it once was. So now we have this little pathetic outpost. But don't worry, I'm pretty sure we can stop any disgruntled leprechauns that come our way. That's all for now, thanks. Okay, now let's look in the fort. Well, there's the commander. The commander doesn't look too happy at being stuck at this particular fort. Marquis, what do you do in this area? I run this fort way out on the edge here. Nothing ever happens. Good thing, too, we couldn't stop a pack of mad cowards if our lives depended on it. How come nothing ever comes out here? The Godan stopped coming through here a couple of years ago, so the last time this fort was rebuilt, the bigwigs decided to not spend too much money. Heck, I can't say I blame them. We're so far off the map the capital could burn down and we'd never know about it. I have a report to give you. Don't give that report to me. Return it to Genmar. That's where it should go. Good gods, they would expect someone to sleep in here? It would drive one insane. And here's the barracks. Nothing there. Alright. Onwards to Genmar, I guess. To the south. Alright, we may as well start by going straight to Genmar. Which is right there! Oh wait, what's this? Evergreen is the largest of the many small villages that make up the general populace around Genmar. Walking in, however, gives you the impression that this is less a village and a military outpost. These settlements have been hit hard. Without the walls to protect them, most have fallen, only to rebuild and fall again. Those that still stand, like Evergreen, maintain a significant military garrison. The war's been hard on everyone. Okay, I guess we'll be looking through Evergreen here. Sure, why not? Quite a bit of size to this building. Yeah, we can leave the horses here. Oh, old person. This destitute man approaches you with a palm open. Help a veteran out, friend? Andrew, thanks for asking. Most folks try to look the other way nowadays. Even those you help don't usually care about my name. You're a veteran? I used to be in the army, but then I got my legs smashed up. Now I don't do much of anything. Cattle in a hand. What happened to your legs? A big old Gordon smashed my legs. But let me tell you something. I was lucky to get out alive. You certainly were. Tell me more. commander fought off 4 Godan all by himself to get me to safety. I may have lost use of my legs, but I owe my life to that officer. What was the officer's name? His name was Simmons. Kind of a jerk, really, but a brave and honorable man. What do you think of the Godan now? Those bastards, I hate them! It's because of them that I can't walk. I'll be glad to help. You give Andrew a handful of coins. Thanks. Perhaps I can return the favor. I've got some information I could give you. What sort of information? It's concerning the magistrate. The magistrate? His name is, or was at any rate, Jimbo. He's been missing for some time now. Missing? You see, a few years back, a law was passed forbidding public dumping at the waste pit, and it was sealed it up. No way to get in anymore, but I hear old Jimbo found a way to bypass the regs. Tell me more. Old Jimbo said he found another way to dump stuff into the pit. I heard him say something about a hollow tree or something. Anyway, I think I figured out his scam. What sort of scam? Normally, folks in recent years had to pay the government to haul away their trash, but with Jimbo's way, they could just dump it for half the cost. Figure that trash business has something to do with Jimbo's disappearance. Huh. Okay then. Soldier doesn't look that thrilled to see you. What's your job? Oh. Just a soldier. No, I'm not jumping off. Waste disposal. Closed. Not going in there. Well, we found the barracks, and good God, there's a lot of beds in here. Doesn't look like anything was put to the dressers, though. Apologies for the sniffing. At least it's not as bad as it's been times. The magistrate's office. The magistrate is out. Okay. There's a back area. Aha! Hidden behind a bookcase. It's locked and we can't see what's in it. Okay then. The enigmatic toadstool. Interesting name. Wager continues to sip his ale. What's your job? Mostly farming. Mostly. What do you mean mostly? That's none of your business. Wagner takes a big swig of ale and does his best to ignore you. Okay, none of my business then. Moving on. Excuse me. Soldier. Excuse me. This woman seems somewhat distant. She's currently chopping up some carrots to put in a stew of some kind. Oh, Sandra. What is your job? I own and run this inn with my daughter. She'll take your order or show you to a room if you need one. You and your daughter run the inn together? Jenny and I have to run this place by ourselves. My husband and my eldest son died years ago, and my 2 younger sons were drafted into the army. You should see Jenny if you need anything. How did your husband die? He died of heart failure after he learned. I'm sorry, I can't talk about this. She turns away to prevent you from seeing her crying. How did your oldest son die? He was killed defending us from the Godan. He was only... I'm sorry, I don't wish to speak of this anymore. Please excuse me. What do you know about the magistrate? Old Jimbo? I don't know when he'll be back. This girl couldn't be older than 12, yet she is competently handling all the traffic in the inn, taking orders and bringing patrons their food and drink. Jenny, welcome to the enigmatic toadstool. Would you something for lunch? A drink, perhaps? Or maybe a room? They're only 10 gold per night. What's your job? I help my mother out running this place. You work with your mother? Well, Ricky and Will, they're my brothers, were drafted last year, leaving only me and Mom to look after this place. You see, Peter and my dad both died when I was very young. How did Peter and your dad die? I don't remember much about it. Now, unless you need something else, I should get back to work. The enigmatic toadstool? Funny name, huh? A bit. What's the sign say? The farmer's market. This merchant doesn't look too interested in talking to you. Bradford. What is your job? I run the farmer's market here. I buy crops from farmers, then I sell the crops to pubs and inns and markets. I'm sorry, but I deal with area merchants and farmers and not with small independent groups. Part of my contract. What do you mean? I'm sorry, I only deal with farmers and merchants. It's in my contract. You see a wizard sipping his drink. As soon as he notices you, he invites you to sit at the table with him.
My name is Atreus. How may I help you?
What brings you here?
I seek an ancient knowledge which can only be found by solving the puzzles of the Vale.
What ancient knowledge do you seek?
According to my research, I have learned that there was once a Venati civilization that lived in the caves of this Vale. I have not yet determined the cause of their departure or death. However, I have found, according to my measurements, that there are some magically sealed Venati storage caches in some of the caves.
Who are the texts passed on from?
My father was a student of Alcatraz in her youth. Alcatraz taught him many things about magic, as well as history and ethics. My father taught me everything Alcatraz taught him, and passed on the texts Alcatraz had given him to me.
What do you know of Alcatraz?
I have never met the man myself. Unfortunately, my understanding is that he is no longer alive. I may be foggy on the details, but I think it had something to do with a man called Meletus. Perhaps someday the answers will be revealed to us both.
What have you learned about the caches?
Inside are some Venati treasures. The Venati were a very magically adept people and used magic to seal their treasures. The protective spells have changed over time, and I have learned that each cache now opens only once a year. I'm not especially interested in the treasure. If you find any, it's yours. However, I know that in one of the caches there is a history book in the Venati language that I seek. If you find it first, bring it to me and I will reward you.
Do you know which days the cache is open?
I have not learned the specific opening days of any of the caches. However, I believe clues can be found around the area from others who may have been doing research.
How would I identify a cache?
You'd recognize it as a dark wall with blue lines.
Okay then. Here's the rooms. Alright, let's leave here and see if we can look in the main town. City, whatever. May as well, after all. You approach a Genmar patrol. Greeting, fellow soldiers. We're on the lookout for Godan. Suggest you do the same. After a salute, they leave. Okay, in we go. Genmar is the largest surviving city in the Vale, and the only major power in it is that is still fighting the Godan. It is also your home. Genmar is made up of the surrounding villages, the largest of which is called Evergreen, the main city, which you are now in, and Castle Genmar just north of the city, which you've never been to. Captain Simmons' office is in the western part of the city in the military complex. Find him and deliver your report. We will, as soon as I look around this place. Oh, can I actually go through the north part, it seems? Interesting. Seems we can't. Okay then. Alright, leave this here. One of the conditions of the Slith Alliance was that the people of Vale had to construct statues of Sliths in their towns. The capital city displays one of the more egregious examples. Sorry, sir, you can't enter here. Leave it alone, that's the controls for the gates. Okay. No, I'm not. I'm just looking around the outside. Ah, that leads to the castle, I guess. Ah, so that's what the north part is now that I think about it. Okay. Well, let's continue looking around. Down this way. Stop, get around him. Again, sorry about the sniffing and the like.
this? Smithy. Oh, and who's this? Geralt. This burly man is angrily pounding away on a slab of iron as you walk in. Geralt. What's your job? What does it look like? I'm a smith. What do you do as a smith? You know, making weapons and armor and such. You can purchase some things if you like, but the price will be high. War and all. I also buy back weapons and armor, so you'll have any of that to sell, let me know. I've also been known to work with exotic metals. If you find any, bring them to me, and I'd be happy to meld them for you. For a small fee, of course. May I purchase some of your finds, Smithy? What's your pleasure, offense or defense? Offensive weapons are varied. Defensive armor, also a bit varied, don't need. So you work with exotic metal. Talk to me about that once you get some. Sure. I'll keep it in mind. Is that Geralt again? No, that's just a townsman. And a townswoman. This townsperson is in a hurry and doesn't seem too interested in talking to you. I'm sorry, do I know you? What is your job? The townsperson brushes you off. Okay. This must be the inn in the place. Soldier stuff like fighting, dying, you know. First we fight, then we die, that's how we do it. His commander's thick helmet obscures his face, but he still manages to convey intensity to every observer in the room. Commander Raleigh. What is your job? Killing Godan, same as you. What has been your experiences with the Godan? Why, my unit just returned from an excursion into their territory. 20 years ago, who would have thought we'd be attacking them? I'll tell you, those darn sliths saved us. This deal with the devil may actually turn out okay. Why do you think that our deal with the sliths will turn out okay? For 20 years, they've chosen the best and brightest among us to help to feed their overgrown lizard god. And I'll be the first to tell you, without their help, we'd all be as dead as a Hopshaw. Hopshaw? Never heard of them. Maybe you're too young to remember. A nice, friendly race. They lived in the eastern part of the Vale. Godan wiped them out a good 22 years ago. Maybe it was 23, I forget. The best and brightest? Yeah, it's a stiff price to pay. I heard they demanded that Magi Ithacotia. I guess they would have turned her over a few days ago. Still, no one is above the law, and we have to honor our word. What do you know about Ithacotia? Funny name, huh? I think it has something to do with her being half dryad. Names always mean something. Okay. Dara is busy preparing several soups at once. The aroma is heavenly. Look around and smell the good food. Even though you know it's rude, you can't manage to pay attention to what she is saying. The food is just too appealing. Here's the rooms. Nothing in that one. Oh, someone in here. The man in this room doesn't look at all surprised or concerned you burst into his room. You also note with some disquiet that he is nursing a large wound to his left leg. Nicias, the other. What is your job? Wouldn't you like to know? But perhaps we can do business. What business are you talking about? I came to this region hoping to discover an ancient artifact of considerable power. Unfortunately, I was unable to complete my journey due to, shall we say, an unfortunate accident. However, I could tell you of the artifact and where to find it. Are you interested? Additionally, I do teach holy magic sometimes. What sort of accident? That's none of your concern. Can I learn some holy magic? Sorry, I only teach this magic to, well, certain individuals. I'm interested. Many years ago, long before the Godan came, a knight named Baladrin journeyed to this area in search of ancient sage who knew of a legendary sword called Kothas Onar, or Sword of Kings. The sword, according to legend, was created specifically to slay a fearsome beast that was terrorizing Baladrin's kingdom. The sword was endowed with special powers to slay that one monster and that monster only. Should the sword ever achieve its task, legend held that it would shatter upon the death blow, rather than risk its power falling into the wrong hands. Unfortunately, I do not know the location of Kothas Onar. I do, however, know of a cave where Baladrin is rumored to have fallen. It is hidden well, but it is not far from here. Among Volodrin's remains may be information that could lead to Kothas Onar, but that is not why I sought his place of death. Volodrin carried with him a shield of immense power. It is said this shield, when equipped, would cover both Volodrin and his traveling companions from devastating harm. It is the shield I sought, but that I can no longer search for, thanks to my accident. Perhaps, though, I can still gain something from this trip. I will tell you the location of Balladrin's cave for, 1,500 gold. Do we have a deal? I believe we do. Go to the northwest corner of the vale, just east of the river. Search the mountain wall carefully. A hidden passage will lead you north. In that passage you will find a cave if you look closely. Okay, and can I learn holy magic now? Okay. And there's the innkeeper. You try to focus on the waiter, you really do, but you can't help diverting your attention to the fine food and drink you see the patrons consuming. What is your job? It's a blur, but you think you hear the waiter mention food and rooms. Okay then. Alright, let's leave here. What's in here? Ah, bazaar? Get from our bazaar. This woman's smile is very invasive. You can already feel better in the presence of it. Catherine, but my friends call me Kathy. What is your job? I sell supplies to the adventuring type. Would you like to purchase some? May I purchase some? You can. Not gonna buy anything. Okay. Next person. You see a bored man sitting behind the counter. Charles, he says, noticing you. What do you sell? I'm a game merchant. All I have right now are board games and dice sets. Care to take a look? Board game and dice. Okay. Maxine brightens as you approach. Another potential sale. What is your job? I weave, sew, and otherwise create the fine clothing you'll find here. And then I pass it on to the consumer at unbeatable prices. Care to sample our wares? Regular clothing. Nothing we need. This archer is fastening heads to arrows as you approach. Laureen, how can I help you? What sort of business do you do? I'm a Fletcher, so I sell all kinds of things to the fine art of projectile weapons. I even have a supply of magical weapons, but I have to warn you, they cost extra. Care to purchase something? Ash Boomerang. It's a thrown weapon. Interesting. Definitely new. Not gonna get it. Alright. The only other place is, the barracks here. Of course, are big. I'm not even gonna check all of these. There's almost nothing. Like, there's likely not to be anything in there. Speak with him in a minute. Let me take a look at the... Ah, this must be a training room. Hello again. Need any more training from a trainer extraordinaire? What is your job? What else would a trainer extraordinaire do? I train in extraordinary skills. Can I receive some training? Oh, we can actually train our things here. Very nice. Not going to right now, but very nice. And finally... Well, it's about time! Captain Simmons screams at you as you enter his office. You've been away a long time, and the best part is that you didn't have to hear your CEO, Simmons, yelling at you all the time. After glancing over your report, Simmons softens a little. This looks adequate, but I'm afraid to say you won't have time to rest. Your team has been requested, don't ask me why, by General Clark. Meet him in the briefing room. Its entrance is just east of the southern gate. That's all. Simmons goes back to whatever paperwork he was working on before. Captain Simmons looks as if a vein might explode. What is your job? I command Section 3 of Genmal's Armed Forces, which includes you. Now, don't you have orders to attend to? What are my orders again? Something about going to the briefing room. Okay, then. Well, let's go in there. It's almost time to stop recording, but I think we can at least deal with this. Must be the room we were told not to go into. Okay, so you've been granted pass. Alright, you know what, sure, let's end this episode here. Next episode, we'll go into the briefing room and find out what our actual mission is going to be. It'll be very interesting. I can actually see a lot of the, roots that this has in Blades of Exile, especially because
Blades of Exile, the way conversations go, you don't have a conversation tree like this. Instead, you got a text box and you had to type in single words like name, job, business, name of person, and that was basically what sent you with all the other things. So it seems like they streamed this a bit by just automatically putting in the request about a name into the dialogue, which is odd. And the first question is always, what is your job? Okay, so that's how it goes. Anyway, next episode we'll go down and see what's going on in the briefing room. Till then, I'm Chester44, that is Fox, Cheek, Bonnie, and Draco. This has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.